We're standing here on the ground of First Bull Run. As most of you already know, after the rebellion started in the South, Abraham Lincoln looked for 70,000 volunteers, particularly militia units, to quell rebellion in the South. And among them was a very interesting man by the name of Augustus Van Horne Ellis. Now, everybody here should have heard of Ellis by now. He was the colonel of the 124th when they formed the regiment. But at this point in time, the 124th was still a year and some change away. Ellis was a part of a militia unit, signed on to fight with the Union, and he raised a militia company that ended up being Company F of the 71st New York State Militia. By the time the company, as well as the rest of the regiment, made it down to Washington, the Union Army, particularly the War Department, decided that they had too much infantry. They didn't think that there was a need for this much infantry at the oncoming battle, because there's no way that this battle is going to last that long. Well, Ellis's company was one of those that was chosen to be decommissioned, basically. But Ellis was not for that. As, you know, all of you have heard, when he became colonel of the Orange Blossoms, he believed in raising a fighting regiment. Well, he took that same mentality from how he was going to run his company as a captain in the 71st. They were going to be a fighting company, and goddamn, there was nothing that was going to keep him out of the fight. Now, the Ellis family is extremely wealthy. His father's a doctor, and well-connected. Ellis will, while in D.C., go to the Department of the Navy, and seek out a family friend named Dahlgren, who will become an admiral at some point during the war. Dahlgren had created a specific type of artillery piece for naval guns. It is the Dahlgren boat howitzer, and as you can see, it's very different from regular land cannon. It's made of metal. It's got a wheel on the back here, just so that they could roll it right back up, as you know, with naval warfare. Dahlgren will loan a few of these cannons to Ellis's company, and quickly, Ellis will change his men from an infantry company to a artillery unit. Now, what's important to remember is that he doesn't have horses, he doesn't have caissons, so what he has to do is his men have to carry their ammunition and get it here as best they can and push these cannons themselves. How many miles are we from Washington, D.C., would you say?
At least 25.
25 miles. Pushing these things. That's something else. But he wanted to be in the fight. So, he will deploy here on the ridge. The rest of the 71st, which includes his brother, who is commanding another company of the 71st, their infantry will be deployed to the front, while his company will remain here in an fixed artillery position. And they will duel it out with Confederate artillery all the way out to Henry Hill. As we all know, with the Battle of Bull Run, eventually Confederate reinforcements will come in, and a full rout will happen of Union forces. Ellis has to make a very important decision, which is probably a pretty expensive one if you think about it. These are pretty new guns. He ditches them in the creek, because there's no way he's pushing these things back to D.C. So the cannons are spiked and abandoned, and he will then return to DC and be on the outer defenses until he will get the call to come command the new 124th New York Regiment nearly a year later. It's a special thing to see these, because these weren't here until recently, maybe the last 2 years. These were recovered from the creek, and they were put in front of, I believe, like a courthouse or something here in Virginia. And these have recently been donated to Manassas Battlefield Park. So we get the chance to stand here where the patron of our regiment once stood with the guns that he procured to make sure that his men were in the fight. We don't have a wreath like we do for Gettysburg or something like that. So what I thought was best, one single orange ribbon in the memory of our brave colonel.